second, separated first and second.
Okay, it looks like while we're waiting for the interview of our winner in the 12-inch height, we've got a slow motion replay of one of the dog walk performances. This is an up contact, it looks like, on the dog walk, and you can see a wonderful call to be able to catch that rear foot cycling through. You could see the front of the dog missed that yellow zone. The front end's going to jump right over it. On any of these contact equipment, the ramps out there, for safety purposes, the dogs have to hit the yellow zone, which is the last 3 feet or so of the obstacle. They have to hit it on the way up the obstacle and on the way down the obstacle. And you can see that rear foot just hits the front edge of the obstacle, which is unusual.
Right.
One of the things we'll be sure to explain to certify that we get the calls right out here. Our judge also has the assistance of 9 different cameras that are set throughout the field, and replay officials and judges that help watch this. The judges can connect with each other and determine whether or not there needs to be a video replay review.
All right. Cece Martinez now with Janie, a miniature poodle, leading off here at 14 inches.
Cece also choosing to rear cross the A-frame with Janie, but then having to go with her to the end. You see a little bit of confusion there, a little bit of hesitation approaching the jump on the way to that 180. Now they've picked up speed again. Janie safely down to the dog walk contact. All that's left is his finishing line. Well done.
Janie finishes with a time of 44.96. 44.96. And a clean run. Next, and Lisa Buckner with her All-American Hefe.
And we can see already that, in the excitement of the moment here.
Next, Abigail Beasley with her Shetland Sheepdog Dreamer.
And we'll see as the speeds pick up as we move down this running order and we get toward the higher seated dogs, how this course flows and the lines change for the dogs that run a little faster. Abigail choosing to go to the outside of the line, crossing between the A-frame and the jump, just barely got that executed. A risky strategy. We'll see if it'll work out for her. Nice clean front cross on the way to the weaves. Safely off the dog walk. Abigail getting a pretty good turn on the way to the finishing line. Choosing a blind cross. And over the spread.
38.47. Clean run. And into first place. Halfway done with our 14-inch dogs. 3 to go.
So we'll see now, this is a race. The fastest clean dog is the dog that's crowned the champion. We'll see that bobble from the A-frame to the jump after the A-frame with the aggressive strategy, whether it ends up costing her, depending on how these next 3 dogs run.
At the line now, Juliana Lund with her Shetland Sheepdog Rukia.
Juliana choosing to lead out all the way past the 3rd jump, control the landing of Rukia's approach and execution of jump number 3. Oh. And she's back up.
Slipped.
There's no fault on that. The dog hadn't made an approach of the jump to get a refusal yet. However, it did cost them a lot of time. This is a competition dog agility that is also about handler athleticism at times.
Made the adjustment. Dog got around behind her. Adjusted nicely. Got the dog into the weaves.
Being able to think on your feet and or get up and get back on your feet and reestablish a connection is often difficult. It shows experience to be able to do that.
Absolutely. Not easy at all. 43-28 in a clean run. 2 dogs left. This is Catherine Leggett next with Shout, her Shetland sheepdog.
Next up is Shout. Shout is handled by Catherine Leggett.
And both these last 2 dogs to run are fast dogs.
So unofficially, Abigail Beasley and Dreamer do no worse than 3rd place.
Time to beat 38-47. Kathy with a nice front cross on the way to the A-frame. Safely off the A-frame. Kathy choosing to rear cross. And a little bit of a hesitation and a refusal, a fault approaching that wrap jump. Kathy sending Shout out to that jump, safely directed to the wall.
37-24.
So a fast time, and within that time of 37-24, you have to consider that there's wasted time on the refusal in that transition from the 180 to the wrap jump. Shame about that, but the time could have been even faster, and we could have been looking at a time down in the 36s.
I think you're right. This is Barb Davis now with her Shetland sheepdog, Sketcher.
Time to beat 43-28.
38-47.
Sorry, I'm sorry. 30. You are correct. 38-47. 38-47. The time to beat. Probably getting a fast line, not necessarily a tight curve, but a nice telescoping arc. Dog able to keep up speed.
Got to fly off
on the seesaw. Beautiful running dog walk.
Wow.
A little bit of a slip there, landing the jump on the way to the wall. And look at that time.
35-75.
So you can see, if you were happening to catch on the replay there, that our judge, Janet Gaunt, wants to take a review of one of the calls, wants to make sure, certify that the call is correct. What we can tell you is, looking at the results as they stand right now, Abigail Beasley is in first place at 38-47. We will see whether or not the seesaw fault that she's reviewing will be upheld, or whether she'll want to change that. And if she does, we might have a different winner.
Right now, if nothing changes, Abigail Beasley and Dreamer in first, Juliana Lund and Rukia in second, and Cece Martinez and Janie in third. But again, that's unofficial, and Judge Gaunt is asked to have a look at one of the runs.
As we were starting to discuss in the 12-inch class, there are 9 cameras out here. They are here as tools for our judges. Our judges have to certify that the dogs hit all the contact zones, that they perform the tire without separating it, without colliding it and causing it to displace. As a result of that, there are times when what we see as judges out there on the field, we may not be sure. Just in happenstance, things may get in our way. The handler might block our view. One leg of the dog might end up being in the way, obscuring our view of the other. And so this ensures, as best as we can, that the result on the field is correct and the proper dog is given the proper placement. And so far, I'd say that just looking at where we stand right now, pending review, we are looking at, and we are getting a review result in that the dog walk call, there was a fault that was added to the last dog's dog walk.
All right, we're going to get a chance to see this,
be able
Greg,
to see this. Yep.
on the instant replay.
So that's Sketcher, Barb Davis's dog, the last one to run. And you can see the dog clearly did not hit the contact.
Right. Now that was a little faster than normal what we just saw, but Sketcher is fast. They were,
and that appeared to be an instance where our judge, in attempting to have to make another call in another position and then stay out of the way of the handler,
right,
ended up in a place where she couldn't effectively see it in a confident way. She didn't want to fault the dog without seeing the fault,
right,
but wasn't sure of what she saw.
Right.
So far, I would say the theme in the small dogs has been, dog agility is both a sport of speed and accuracy, and so far accuracy has been more important.
Yep.
Fourth place goes to Shep and Catherine Leggett. Third place, Jamie and Cece Martinez.
All right. Congratulations to Cece and Janie.
Finishing second, Rukia and Juliana Lund.
Congratulations to Juliana and Rukia.
And your first place finisher, Dreamer and Abigail Beasley.
And congratulations to our 2016 Grand Prix champion, Abigail Beasley and Dreamer.
You can set the bar for 16, please. 1-6.
All right, 6 competitors here at 16 inches. Coming up next,
We're now going to step for our 16-inch division, and coming to the line first is Charger. Charger is a second dog, headed by Gail Anderson.
all right, leading off, Gail Anderson with her Shetland Sheepdog Charger.
Charger getting started on Gail, maybe taking off a little ahead of her. Wasn't sure she was ready. Gail doing a good job of managing that line anyhow, but you can see it got off to a little bit of a bobbling start. Not quite sure how to direct her up to the A-frame. Now they seem to be back together. And now you see Gail will have to turn Charger away and then try to catch up. A little bit of a miscommunication. Charger not sure where to go there from the weave poles to the dog walk.
Got a fault called on the down contact of the dog walk.
And there you see the risk of the strategy of sending the dog out to that jump after the tire on their own. If you can't get the connection back to them and have them come back to them back to you over that jump.
43.71 with 2 faults. Now we got Marcia Lyons with her Nova Scotia duck tolling retriever. Say that fast 3 times. Liberty. Oh, sorry, looking at the wrong one. This is Tim Buck with his miniature American Shepherd, Caboose. Just seeing if the folks at home are paying attention, and if you are, Greg, thanks for rescuing me.
Well, you know, you caught me on the time earlier. We have been here for 5 days and lots of great competition. We were here until almost 11 o'clock last night, watching a phenomenal steeplechase and performance speed jumping finals. Always a wonderful experience being out here under the lights here at Westworld in Scottsdale. Here you see Tim choosing to run the A-frame on the left, blind crossing the exit very nicely. Lovely rear cross into the 180 and a beautiful wrap back. This is a very efficient opening. Tim getting ahead, executing a nice tight front cross. And then there you see that attempt to rear cross. By controlling the jump after the seesaw and managing that turn, he was then setting up to do a rear cross, but that early convergence pushed the dog off the poles. They hadn't quite committed to those weave poles yet, ended up with the off-course A-frame.
And again, a little longer stride, getting out a little bit further, getting closer to that off-course A-frame.
And of course, all of this is very easy to see and say from here. We all know, as competitors out there ourselves, everything happens very fast, and any little slight unexpected movement from your dog, you have to then try to accommodate and react to, and that is the art of the sport out there.
Yep. Happens fast, and the course comes at you.
Pam choosing to lead out all the way to the wall jump.
This is Pamela Reed with Snafu, listed as a lurcher.
Pam getting the rear cross and holding on to the dog's commitment to that jump, not letting go until Snafu went ahead and took that wrap jump.
Got it called on a fly-off on the seesaw.
And there again you see the attempt to control the turn after the seesaw. There are choices, and the handlers are having to make decisions based on what they believe are their strengths along with their dogs.
Right.
And those choices, a good course presents those choices to handlers, and you see different choices being made based on the different team's strengths. Unfortunately, in the execution of that maneuver, often in the excitement of a finals, there's a tendency to want to move faster, to talk faster, to leave faster, to get to that next challenge. And if you converge too early, you end up pushing them off those weave poles.
All right, at the line now, Erin Hervel with her All-American Crush. And you wonder, when a competitor's watching the person in front of them and they see something like that, you gotta be careful it doesn't play too much in your head, right?
Right, and different handlers mentally prepare in different ways. Some watch, some don't. Some are just there with their dogs. They just keep rehearsing their plan, knowing that their strengths are what they're gonna play toward. Crush safely off the seesaw. And she's working to get that front cross in. Erin was able to do it a little bit late. Crush had to wait for her just a little bit there, but safely all the way through the dog walk. This has the potential to be our first clean run in this height. Lovely finishing line.
38-33, clean run, first place. Next, Ashley Deacon with his Pyrenean Shepherd Dash. This should be a fast run.
Very experienced team. Ashley with the long stride length himself, able to get the front cross in on the way to the A-frame and the front cross then into the 180, creating a lovely curve and fast, efficient line into the tunnel. Safety off the seesaw, and there you see Ashley attempting to handle the entire sequence from seesaw to weaves with dog on his right side. However, Dash needed more commitment to that first jump. That's going to cost them time.
Right.
Lovely job sending Dash out, calling him back through the finishing line.
37-18.
So even with that bobble, they are the new leaders on this course with only one dog left to run.
Michael Dufton with his miniature Australian Shepherd, Shayla.
Coming up is our last dog in the class, Shayla, a miniature Australian Shepherd headed by Michael Dufton.
So far we've seen several strategies throughout the course, but particularly in this height from the seesaw to the weave poles playing a major role.
Of the three areas we talked about prior to the start of this, where we thought there would be some interesting challenges.
So far with the small dogs, this little sequence from the seesaw to the weave poles has been the most determinative.
Yep.
Beautiful rear cross, safely wrapped to the inside. Just holding on to it, a very aggressive seesaw. Michael doing a nice job getting those two front crosses done on the way to the weave poles. And safely off the dog walk as well. Michael, a finishing line left to run. A little bit of hesitation.
Oh, my.
Michael, unfortunately, found the wrong side of the wall jump. He had to react to his dog there, it looked like, and reacting to Shayla going a little wide over that jump after the tire. Michael backpedaled, and as he backpedaled to draw his dog toward him over that next jump, he then lost the line. The dog was coming toward him, but he wasn't moving toward the next obstacle.
All right, unofficially, I've got Ashley Deacon and Dash in first. Aaron Herval with Crush second, and Gail Anderson and Charger third.
Results are now in, and for our 16th division, our first finalist is Caboose and Tim Bach.
Well, we'll see what the 18-inch dogs have in store for us.
And Andy, you talked about the relative importance of various places on this course, and again, I do agree with you. I think in the 16-inch class, that section there in the middle played a huge role in the times. And then we saw on the last run how that last portion, the last line, ended up, the independence that Michael and Shayla had getting the dog out there to that jump wasn't matched with their ability then to bring Shayla back in.
Right.
And as a result, that became determinative of them making it through the course. They had a great run going. I think they might have been fast enough to take it.
Second place.
Certainly would have been close.
I
think you're right.
It will be interesting as the dogs get bigger and the stride length changes and the potential for the volatility of each stride, whether it's in the right direction or the wrong one, increases, whether the sequence from the seesaw to the weave poles is as important, or whether perhaps the sequence, the 180 to the wrap, becomes more important, or maybe the closing line.
Right. And there goes Ashley and Dash. My gosh, Ashley's got some wheels under him. You're right about stride length.
And you know, it is a sport that is both an athletic endeavor for the dogs and highlights their potential athleticism.
Right.
It also is a sport that can be played in many ways, whether it accentuates a team's training ability to handle more at a distance and the handler taking shorter paths through the course, or more athletically running stride for stride, attempting to at least, and stay visible and ahead of the dog,
right,
but running much more matched step for step with your partner.
Right. All right, congratulations again to Ashley Deacon and Dash, our 2016 Grand Prix champions at 16 inches. Now we'll do 18 inches next, and we have 6 competitors at 18 inches.
As I said, for our 18-inch division, we'll have 6 competitors in this class. And coming up to the line first will be Rizzo. A Booter Staffy headed by Gosha Skowron.
All right, leading off is Gosha Skowron with her border staffy Rizzo.
Rizzo, a nice nimble adjustment there, jumping to keep that third rail up. Oh, and just a little bit of hesitation there as Gosha tried to execute the rear cross on approach of that first jump of the 180. Rizzo wasn't committed, ended up refusing the jump. That'll be a fault. And missed weave pole entry. You could see on that front cross that Gosha performed, she was having to get out of the way and didn't give Rizzo a long time to see that approach. Made it much harder for him. Nice job with the finishing line, though.
Nice finish. 42.50.
42.50 for Rizzo and Gosha.
All right. Marcia Lyons now with her Nova Scotia duck trolling retriever, Liberty. Now I know why you gave me that strange look after I said that the last time, because I was looking on the wrong spot.
Marcia with a nice front cross on the way to the A-frame. And an attempt to perform a blind cross. She was able to get it in eventually there, but the dog took the jump after the A-frame thinking to come up on Marcia's right side and didn't understand until much later that she wanted her on the new left side.
But all they lost was time.
Right.
So.
But again, this is ultimately a speed event. It is both speed and accuracy.
Yep.
And particularly as the dogs get in the larger heights and or the height classes, the number of dogs competing increase within a height class.
39.90.
Typically speed becomes more of the determinative factor.
39.90, clean run, puts Liberty into first place.
Next up will be Vixen.
This is Rachel Downs now with her border collie Vixen.
And speaking of speed being a determinative factor, here's a extremely fast dog. Beautiful turn to the A-frame. You see the distance, the independent execution by Vixen, allowing Rachel to get there to that puzzle, that 180 to the wrap, and handle it efficiently.
Oh,
a little bit of a misstep off the seesaw, but Vixen recovers quickly. This is an athletic endeavor for these dogs, as you can see. Safely down the dog walk, only the finishing line left. Come on in, Vixen, got to find that jump. Rachel doing a nice job of holding on to Vixen and helping Vixen get back to that jump.
33.16, 33.16 for Rachel and Vixen. Propels them into first place.
And that is the fastest run we've had all day.
Yeah.
And we're going to see that continue now as we go down the reverse seating and get to the faster dogs within this height in the preliminaries, and probably as we move forward in the next jump heights.
Yes. All right, Kate Moreau now at the line with Smart, her border collie, putting a mat down as Smart is in season.
And that is try to at least minimize the potential distraction of dogs that will run next. Kate leading all the way out again, almost to the A-frame. Again, nice independence. Smart going to take that A-frame on its own so that Kate could get up there. A little bit of a bobble, a little bit of hesitation in that 180. Beautiful seesaw. And there you see the control of the jump before the weaves and the rear cross strategy. And again, look at the independence.
Yes.
Letting Smart take that dog walk approach on her own, getting the running contact, a successful hit. This has the potential to be a wonderful time. Is it going to be enough? Oh, a little bit of a hesitation and couldn't find the last jump without a refusal.
35-59 with the refusal. Oh my.
Some lovely example and demonstration of training and handling.
Yep.
The independence to leave Smart in the weave pole so that Kate could get up there and steer Smart off that running dog walk. Lovely, lovely demonstration.
All right, up next, Kristen Sittner with her Border Collie Spec.
Running start, Kristen choosing to blind cross the exit of the A-frame and now rear crossing their way into the 180. Oh, the bar coming down on the wrap. You can see just a little bit of a question from Speck there in the 180, and Kristen had to hold on.
Second bar down.
And I think in holding on, that little bit of a disruption, then the dog isn't getting a long look at that jump.
Got a call on the down contact of the dog walk.
And now missing the wall, so that will be an off course and an elimination. A wonderful aggressive attempt.
Yep. Give it their best.
Unfortunately, the off course. Looks like we have one competitor left in this jump height.
Shannon Fosty with her Border Collie Kirk.
And the time to beat was Vixen and Rachel with that 33:16 time.
Next up is Kurt.
Shannon and Kurt won the 18-inch steeplechase championship last night. Trying to be a double champion here today.
Shannon with a running start, but in plenty of time to execute the front cross. Again, beautiful independent A-frame, so Shannon could come and do the front cross, be in a nice position to direct Kirk through that little sequence to the tunnel. Choosing to hold Kirk and then rear cross the weave poles. Again, a nice independence to get down into the dog walk, a running dog walk, beautifully in. Having to hold that wide turn again, same thing that Vixen had to do. We'll see how the time compares.
30:93. Wow.
So a smoking run.
Yeah, that'd be how I'd call it.
Wonderful opening. Just that little bit of a puzzle there off the dog walk. So much speed off that running dog walk. And the decision to go with that speed and flow and let the independence of the dog take it from the tire over to the next jump. But just a little bit of a lack of connection, just not quite enough to bring them in quickly.
Right.
But the overwhelming speed of the dog and the choices made and the handling of the rest of the course proving to be enough for them to be our champions of the 18-inch class.
In first place, Shannon Fosty with Kurt, Rachel Downs and Vixen second, and Marsha Lyons and Liberty third.
And what a job of Shannon reacting in the moment with everything, the dog running at the speed the dog is running, to react to the length over the jump after the tire, and feel that Kirk was heading around the jump and hold her ground, react, and stay, change plans, be there, hold on to that jump, and refocus Kirk to the jump. Because if the dog goes around, it's a fault, it's a refusal, and all of a sudden, you're no longer on the podium. So wonderful job of reacting.
Second place, Vixen and Rachel Downs. And finishing first, congratulations is in order to Kurt and Shannon Fosty.
Well done, Shannon and Kurt. They'll have a nice ride home.
And you can see in our celebration victory laps and what you just saw at the end, how much this game is trained as a game of play. You watched as they ran their victory lap and finished the last obstacle, the leash come down, the dog go right to tugging, and that's part of the sport and how so many of the trainers out there train it to be a sport and an activity in which the dogs get fully engaged, where they participate at the same sort of speed and zest and interest that they do running together with other dogs in the field, in the backyard, out in the woods, that it becomes something they throw everything they have into. And that starts with that building of a relationship and building the joy in moving together and playing together and keeping it a fun, exciting, rewarding game.
Right. You know, one thing we're seeing here, this will be the last year where we award championships in 12 inches and 18 inches and 26 inches. With the new jump heights coming in December 28th, we'll have 10, 14, 16, 20, 22, and 24.
And of course, the different jump heights being a way to make the game appealing and fair to dogs of different sizes and structures.
Right.
And over time, the sanctioning organization, USDAA, looks through the data of the speeds and performances of dogs throughout the years and the country, you know, and the entire population of dogs playing the game, to see whether or not it would be fair, more attractive, more interesting a game with different cutoffs and different jump heights.
Right.
So we're now getting set for our 22-inch class. We'll have 18
We have 18 dogs competing at 22 inches. Next, starting out will be Lynn Spielman with Savvy, her Labrador Retriever.
Eager Labrador. Oh! And that eagerness, unfortunately, leading to Savvy pushing out a little bit, finding that wall jump, which is in the direct path of the dogs down those first three jumps. Often as handlers train their dogs, they train them to respond to a continuity of movement, easy to say, continuity of movement from the handler, cueing continuity of movement from the dog, and in that case, with Lynn continuing to move forward, Savvy also moved forward and found the off course.
Yep.
And that was Savvy and Lynn.
All right. Certainly is an honor for all of these dogs and handlers to get to this point in this competition.
It's been a year-long qualifying process leading to a 5-day tournament here in Scottsdale.
Next up, Kathy Kikiyama with Zip.
So Zip safely down the dog A-frame. And you see Kathy choosing to flip the dog away from her, going with the dog's approach line, a good strategy for them as a team, rather than asking Zip to have to turn tight. Zip picking it up down that dog walk. Nice running dog walk. And Kathy in good position to handle that serpentine and the pressure back to the wall. And just making it down the finish line.
38-16.
Again,
nope.
Again, I think that you're seeing for some of the handlers, the adrenaline of being out here. It may or may not be their first time in a finals. The excitement and watching that for the handlers even, they might find that they're a little more spent, a little more burnt from all the adrenaline rush.
Absolutely. And while it's not unbearably hot, it is warmer here tonight or this afternoon than it was last night. About 80
and
degrees.
Cracker getting a head start on Cody, but Cody handling it nicely.
This
Beautiful.
Cody Levine and Cracker.
Beautiful distance and independence off the A-frame. You see how that helps the handler with a faster dog, a dog that's much faster than they are, still manage to let the dog work at the dog's pace rather than be limited by the handler's pace. Beautiful independent execution of the dog walk. A little bit of a hesitation there as the dog was trained to wait for Cody to get to the end. Good save there at the second to last jump.
37.03, 37.03 for Cody and Cracker. Next we have Rose Savkov with Toby.
And so now we're seeing, remember in the smaller dog heights, we saw the handlers largely running with their dogs. Now we're starting to see with some of the handlers in this height, in particular, we've seen a bit more independent work.
Right.
Toby down to the end of the A-frame. Rose choosing to split the difference and handle with the rear cross to the 180 in the wrap. Choosing the outside path. Very efficiently run. Nice tight turn. A little bit of work for Toby to get around Rose into those weave poles, but a nicely trained entry, and Toby able to handle that pressure. And here you heard Rose say, get out, jump, come, which is the independence, and then the call back.
35.47 puts him in first place.
Beautiful job of connection and that certainty and clarity of after approaching the tire, cueing the dog, get out, jump, using verbal cues. They've obviously trained that and spent the time investing in that training so that it would pay off in a situation like this.
Next up, Catherine Laria with Blizzard. And our judge signals a fault on the down contact of the A-frame.
Safely down the seesaw, very aggressive. Catherine getting out of the way just in time on that front cross. Pretty job entering this last line. And a little bit of uncertainty there at the very end, the second to last jump.
37.33 with one fault.
So now we're actually starting to see with the larger strided dogs a little bit more of an issue with the second to last jump. We're seeing dogs coming over the wall and over the blue jump that follows it and arcing out beyond and outside of that red jump, and the handlers having to adjust and draw them back in.
All right, this is Noriko Asso with Sonic.
Very light strided dog over those first three jumps. A little bit of a slip there, A-frame to the jump. A wider arc, but a fast pace and distributed the curve nicely. We'll see how that works out for time. Seesaw was aggressive. We'll see if it stands.
A little slip going.
Sonic has slipped a couple times here.
Yep.
It's a very light dog, but it's having a little bit of a struggle keeping up on its feet. There you go, you saw that slip, but Sonic was able to manage that turn. You saw the slip, but just getting enough purchase on the ground to make the turn back to the second to last jump.
36.01. Good enough for second. Catherine Laria, or Rose Savkov with Toby in first at 35.47. That's our time to beat. Debbie Spence now with Braden.
Debbie choosing to stay with Braden. on the A-frame, and as a result, got a little bit of a miscue and then unfortunately the off course. And those are the trade-offs we look at. We talked about that in the opening and the description of the course, that there's this question the handlers are put to. Do they stay with their dogs down that A-frame to support the safe performance and the fault-free performance of the down contact, or do they take a risk, demonstrate more distance, and be down there to steer the 180 to the wrap to the tunnel from a more advantageous position?
Eva Gutierrez is up next with Lana Kila.
Coming up next is Lana Kila and Eva Gutierrez.
Nice energetic crowd here today, cheering everyone on. That always adds to the excitement.
Lana Kila is up and ready. Eva trying to get a lead out. Got just enough. Pulls Lana Kila to the A-frame, rear crosses that put her in a nice position, the independent execution of the down. To a nice 180, a little bit of width though on that wrap. That'll just cost him time. Safely into the poles. And now for the close, a little bit of width on that first jump after the tire. Led to a little bit of width on the landing. But she's safely through the closing.
36.89. Good time, but not enough to unseat Rose and Toby at 35.47.
Looks like it moves her into second place so far. We're about halfway through this jump height, right?
Yep. Elise Rossellini next with Finn.
And we're just getting word from the replay booth behind us that one of the earlier performances, dog that ran earlier, Sonic, is under review. Finn safely through the opening. And there you see Elise choosing the first front cross, but then holding the turn and then rear crossing of the weave poles. Better entry into that serpentine and the push to the wall. Nice line over the last two jumps. And the time reflects it.
33.85. Clean run. First place.
Next up is Vivian. Vivian is headed by Kathleen Devine.
At the line now, Kathleen Devine with Vivian exclamation point.
And Vivian runs with an exclamation point.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, and the first jump down, you saw Vivian creep up very close to that first bar, not quite enough room to get up cleanly over the bar. A little bit of width there into the 180, but nicely flipped away to the tunnel. And a little bit of confusion. Looks like maybe Kathleen was cueing the tight turn, but wasn't sure she had commitment or not.
Occurred a refusal.
Beautiful running dog walk. This course certainly allows the potential for dogs with running dog walks to gain a lot of time on the dogs that instead have to slow down and almost stop to hit that contact.
39.98. Certainly the second last jump, number 19, that red jump, is causing a little confusion in this closing line.
This closing
with the
line
bigger dogs.
With the larger dogs, the whole closing line has been more of an issue than it certainly was with the first two jump heights. We're seeing dogs flowing off the dog walk and the tire and then that next jump and not finding their way back to that jump before the wall.
This is Juliana Lund now with Harlow.
Juliana controlling Harlow's landing. Safe, efficient, nice approach to the A-frame. Beautiful blind cross into the 180. A little bit of width and a slip there, but nicely handled with the left turn. A little bit of a front cross to a throw behind there. Beautifully done.
Nice cross into the weaves, and she got out of the way.
And she's well ahead, and a little bit of independence, trusting her dog to manage that approach on her own certainly has helped. This is a
Tighter
nice
turn.
run.
Yep.
One more little sequence to handle.
Pick
Safely
that up.
over.
34-52. 34-52. Not quite enough to overtake Elise and Finn, but a beautiful run nonetheless. Dave Grubel up next with his Australian Shepherd, Boca.
Coming up next is Boca, an Australian Shepherd handled by Dave Grubel.
Boca certainly ready. Dave slipping in a nimble little front cross on the way to the A-frame. And another on the way to the 180. Choosing to spiral inward. Dave working that seesaw to ensure the contact. That second front cross having to work to get there. Boca being patient, letting Dave finish the maneuver. Nice turn into that jump.
Efficient line.
On the way to the wall, another efficient line to the close.
34-76.
Dave coming to say hi at the end of that one.
34-76, good time, but again, not quite enough to overtake Elise Rossellini and Finn at 33-85. This is Nazi Burkus now with Will.
Najee driving Will over those first three jumps. Aggressive A-frame, a little bit of a wide turn on the 180, but a lot of speed. We'll see if the fastest arc isn't the tightest line, it's the fastest
fly off on the seesaw.
And unfortunately, the fly off on the seesaw. These curves with the different sized dogs, the fastest line on a curve is not the tightest line.
They're called on the down contact of the dog walk.
And it's not the widest line. It's kind of a question of physics.
And we just missed the wall jump off course for an E.
So we're going to see, as we mentioned in the opening, if the dogs that are going to turn right and spiral in clockwise to that entire 180 to the wrap, we're going to see different lines taken depending on the strengths of the various dogs.
Right.
And that ultimately it's a question of how much speed can you take over how much distance. And it's a relative question. There's a middle ground for everyone, and we'll see how that sorts out.
All right, on the course now, this is Mia Grant with Rich.
Fast dog on the opening. Again, a bit of width. We'll see if, and the bar came down.
Bar is down, okay. Hard to see, the wall jump kind of blocks my view of that one.
A little bit of not quite able to communicate the turn coming into that 180 sufficiently for Rich to pick up the cue in time. You saw the width and perhaps just a very last second reaction causing that bar to come down. But certainly a lovely time.
33.97 with a fault. Time to beat, 33.85. Elise Rossellini and Finn. Next up is Tawny Burnap with Jolt. 4 dogs left.
So now these are going to be some of the fastest dogs in the preliminary rounds. We'll see if the times continue to get faster and faster.
Right.
Jolt just getting through on that front cross. You heard the barking, an indication sometimes that they're ready to go and they just need you to let them get there. Good job of Tawny holding on to that jump. You saw Jolt maybe a split second a head check to make sure, do you want me to take it or not? Wonderful reaction on Tawny's part, sorry.
That's okay.
Beautiful into the closing line. Can she hold it over the red jump? She can.
33.93. Good time, but not quite enough to overcome Finn at 33.85. Good enough for second place.
Next up is Jedi, handled by Susan McGowan.
Susan McGowan up now with Jedi. 3 dogs left.
I have a feeling we're going to see some really aggressive attempts in these next 3 runs.
If they want to win, they're going to have to.
However, careful down that A-frame. They're going to have to make up some time from that. Nice seesaw. Lovely set of front crosses and a beautiful, efficient line to the weave poles. Beautiful entry into that closing line.
Really efficient in that back corner.
And driven nicely.
33-61.
Nicely through the close.
Takes over first place.
So she was able to make up that time. A little bit of hesitation on the A-frame, but otherwise a really spot-on run.
Nice job on the dog walk. Safely down, but tight through the tire and the 2 jumps after that before the wall jump. Didn't waste anything there.
And a good example of enough distance, but not a loss of control over that jump after the tire.
Carol Schieffer now with her Border Collie Schemer. 2 dogs left. Oh.
And just sometimes the excitement of the moment, all the energy, the dog left it stay. Carol didn't realize it, wasn't able to handle it, and so got a refusal there, and then after missing one of the jumps, went off course for the elimination.
That's a shame.
You know, the big event environment, the final runs of the weekend, all the energy that's here, the crowd that's here, it does pump everyone up, including both the handlers and the dogs, and it puts the behaviors that we may have trained in different circumstances under a lot of pressure.
Right. I mean, you know, look in relay, we saw a team that could have won it all, not run without the baton.
Right.
You know, that's just all those things you talk about. The excitement, the stress.
And that's part of the joy and the fun of playing. It's why people come and play, because they want to be put to the test, put to the pressure, and see how they respond. That's part of the sport, and it's...
If it was easy, everyone would do it. All right, last dog this height. This is Swagger, run by Susan Garrett. Suddenly got quiet out here.
I'm sure everyone is anticipating what could be a phenomenal run. Let's see. The A-frame was aggressive, but in and good. Susan choosing to flip Swagger away around the wing very nicely. Steadying Swagger up for a really efficient line of the weaves, crossing behind. Nice running dog walk. Can she control the turn into the serpentine? Just barely holding on to the wall jump. This is going to do it.
32-85. That was our first place run. Unofficially, Susan Garrett and Swagger in first place, 32-85. Susan McGowan and Jedi in second place at 33-61. And Elise Rossellini and Finn in third place at 33-85. 1 second between third and first.
And a lot of time stacking up in that 33-second range, right? We had several runs that were in that ballpark just off the podium.
Right.
Very deep field.
Right.
It looked like Swagger's run, a very smart, sharp run. It didn't see Susan pushing for necessarily the most aggressive, but just really clean lines, well directed. Sometimes that's the hardest thing to do in an environment like this with all the excitement.
Right.
But you know, when you have a handler with a lot of experience, they have maybe an easier time finding that composed place to be smart and sharp, just aggressive enough.
Right. All right, 1 height left, 26 inches. 8 dogs left to go. Always the anticipation at the end of the year for this event, getting it started. It's exciting. Always a little bit of
reticence for it to end.
I hate to see it go. You know, all this work that goes into it, it's sad when it's over, and they'll take this place down, and it won't be long, and you won't even know that there was an agility trial here.
And as you mentioned, this is a week-long endeavor. It started with many of the staff being here as early as Sunday afternoon and evening to be ready for when events here in the previous weekend concluded. As you see from the live stream, there are bleachers, there are vendors, there are 6 other rings of competition on the field beside us. There is another couple sets of rings for practice, for demonstration.
Completed on Sonic, a 5 fall to success for a mix-up dog walk contest.
And just a quick announcement on a scoring detail where one of the calls on one of the earlier dogs to run was under review. It was a clean run on the field, but it was assessed a 5-point fault under review. Our judge, Janet Gaunt, getting a chance to look at the replay. And remember, on every contact performance, the dogs have to hit both the yellow zone on the up, the ascent, and the down, the descent. And here you see Sonic. And in this case, unlike the one we watched earlier, that rear foot didn't cycle through and catch the very beginning of the board. The front feet missed the yellow, and then the rear feet came up under the dog, cycled through, and no footfall.
No dragging of the foot.
No footfall occurred in that safety zone, that yellow zone, so that is a 5-point fault, and that will affect their standing in the final results.
All right, the results are now in for our 22-inch class, our first finalist.
And as you were mentioning, so a week-long event starting Sunday was set up, Monday and Tuesday, all the logistics that go into all the communication systems, all the scoring systems, the ability to broadcast this and live stream, and all the internet connection and the work that goes into this setup. And as you say, within a matter of hours, this afternoon, this evening, it'll all be gone.
I know. Well, we'll look forward to 2017 next then, and back down in Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Returning to the eastern half of the country.
Right.
A wonderful thing USDA has been able to do in the recent history. We for a period, came out here for 6 consecutive years. A lovely site. We're happy as we can be to come back here to Scottsdale. But now being able to rotate sites and provide more access to more competitors, support the program throughout the country a little bit more evenly.
Right. So somebody had asked earlier in the week, had we decided where we're going in 2018, and the answer to that is we're coming west of the Mississippi. Exactly where, we don't know yet. We'll evaluate how this show went at this site. We've got a number of other sites that we're looking into. So we'll work hard to get that done, and when we have a contract in place, we'll make that announcement so that people can plan ahead and know where it's going to be.
And it's certainly been a process, as you know, anytime you're looking at a site, it starts years in advance of the event actually happening. It's a 2, 3, maybe sometimes more than that year process, from first introduction to a site to figuring out the logistics, figuring out the contract, and being able to confirm. And as the sport progresses, one of the nice things that USDA has been able to achieve in the recent years is getting ahead on that so that there's more advanced notification. We get the schedules done a little bit earlier, let everybody know what's coming a little sooner. So looking forward, from my perspective as both a competitor and interested participant in general, where we'll be in 2018.
Stay tuned. In fact, we're working on 2019 as well. So,
and that will be likely to be back east of the Mississippi.
It will be. I can tell you, it will be east of the Mississippi. So people can count on that rotation every other year being back east-west, east-west, east-west. We are committed to that.
And also committed to another large event that USDA puts on, Title Mania.
Title Mania, and 3 locations next spring and summer. 1 in the west, 1 in the east, and 1 in the central. Looking forward to those regional Title Mania events, and we got a good level of excitement at Title Mania that we held just outside of Cleveland this year, and we want to keep that going. We want to see that event grow. And, There's no downtime at USDA anymore. It's busy
No, because
every month.
not only the major competitions, the Sport events, the Title Mania events, you also have the lead-ins to Sport, the regionals, which will start up with the first regional events in March of next year, run through the Labor Day weekend in September.
Right.
These are all qualifying events where teams looking to compete at the Sport World Games at the end of the qualifying year. They advance, receive qualifications and or buys to deeper rounds within the National Championship and World Games.
You know, we're working on a new rule book to come out, which we want to get out there. Working on the World Team qualification process for 2018. You know, we've got the World Championships in Spain that'll come along next April. All of the regionals. We got work left to do to get everything in place for the new jump height changes in December 28th. So, yeah, we're just, like I said, there is no downtime. But we just have to keep working hard and getting these things done. And I just want to take 1 minute here as we're watching the awards. I want to thank Tom Kulo, who chairs this event, and can't thank him enough for all of the hours that he puts in to help get this event prepared and then helps keep it running during the week of Sport. Tom does a great job. All our volunteers, Leslie Bicko, who's our volunteer coordinator, Tim Laubach and his crew, Carol Volker was here to help this year, Seth Dunn, Randy Holford. Those guys are out there building the courses, and course building is critical here because we got dogs running in different rings on the same course, so they need to be built identically, and those guys do a great job. We got
our new Hall of Fame
Tim
member,
Varelli,
Military Service Award member Tim Varelli, and all the scorekeeping, Alan McNenley, and all the secretarial work that goes into the entries and setting up all the computer scoring involved.
Right. And then, you know what, all the local people from the Arizona agility community who are out here helping out. And I wish I had everyone's name and could read it off. We'd be here till 8 o'clock tonight. But without all of those volunteers, without all of that help, this would not be possible. And we get good feedback from people. Nobody has all the answers to these things and how to do it. But with good feedback, we keep improving it and attempt to improve it every year. We'll do a debriefing after this. You know, change delta. What did we like? What would we like to see change? So.
And we're always looking and want to hear the feedback. So please feel free to provide that feedback following the event.
So leading out, we have 8 dogs at 26 inches. This is Rachel Sanders with Gifted.
Rachel working down to the end of the A-frame with Gifted. We'll have to rear cross into the 180. Little bit of width and hesitation committing to that wrap jump. Rachel there to push nicely to the seesaw. Steady up the turn on the way to the weave poles, rear crossing the entry. Nice running dog walk. Rachel up there on that jump after the tire, able to make the push to the wall.
Yeah, 36-72 and a clean run. Nice job for Rachel and Gifted.
So we start out our 26-inch class, and with the 8 dogs in it, we start out with a clean run on the board. That'll put some more pressure on the handlers below to maybe push to go faster rather than just go clean.
Right. Melanie Rock next with Puma.
Melanie getting that front cross in. Puma had to wait just for a second.
Got a
down contact fault
Yep.
on the A-frame. And you never know, with a little bit of a hesitation there on the approach, if that might have influenced Puma's striding, maybe disrupted it a little bit.
You saw a little bit of jockeying to get out of each other's way.
Melanie with nice distance off the approach of that dog walk. Also nice distance to the jump after the tire, allowing her to run this closing line.
She's
with
got a beautiful
Puma all on one
finish coming up
side.
here. 35-85 with a fault. Beautiful run though. Next, Terry Thompson with motion.
Next to the line is Motion. Motion is handled by Terry Thompson.
Ready. Ready.
Again, the front cross on the way to the A-frame. This time Terry increasing distance, letting Motion take that A-frame on his own. A little bit of width in that 180. An aggressive seesaw.
Controlled it with the rear feet, even though the front feet came off before the board came down.
So far a clean run. Safely off the dog walk. Here comes the closing line. Let's see, Motion going a little wide. Terry having to hold on. That's going to be a fault, a refusal of the jump. Again, Terry having to hold to that jump. The same kind of question on both those jumps. And 41-22. The same result. A refusal on both as Motion continued to follow along with Terry's forward motion.
Right,
and not
sliding
converge on her.
Yep, sliding past that jump rather than coming over it. Reading the handler's motion.
And if the motion forward from the handler has to be opposed with something, whether it's rotation, whether it's a verbal, some other cue to let the dog know not to just follow what the natural inclination would be, which is to run the same direction, the same way that the handler is moving.
Masako Yamamoto now with Pays, here from Japan.
Much cleaner approach to the A-frame for Pays. Oh, but a down contact fault.
As you like to say, a little width there on that 180.
A medium path, medium long.
Not horrible.
Hard to know. Again, particularly with the larger size dogs, cranking them down and getting an exceptional amount of collection may be costly compared to letting them run.
Got called on the down contact of the dog walk. And a bar came down on number 19. 37.09 with 3 faults. Good try.
And perhaps, at least with the effect we were thinking of with Rachel and Gifted, coming out the first dog and putting a clean run on the board, put a little pressure on the dogs immediately following her. We'll see how, as we get to these last 4 dogs, the fastest dogs in preliminaries, how they do.
Right, halfway through, this is Laura Price now with Hot Shot. Yeah, we often talk about that person that comes out early.
Pretty blind cross on the way to the A-frame. Independent A-frame, nicely done.
Puts in a good run and puts pressure on everyone else after that.
Now there's a tight 180 to a nice wrap. This is a very efficient start for them. And here you see Laura with a hot shot trying the same thing Ashley tried earlier, keeping the sequence from seesaw to weaves all on one side. This time being able to get it done though. This is going to be a good time.
33.88. 33.88 propels them into first place. Rachel and Gifted in second. Shane Miller now, 3 dogs left. Shane Miller with Luna, a Belgian Malinois.
Ready.
Safely off the A-frame, down contact. Shane choosing to go with Luna and then handle the 180 to the wrap from behind. Nicely run.
Nice seesaw.
Now the front to another front cross.
Stays out of the way. Lets Luna get in those poles.
Little adjustment by Luna coming down the dog walk. Wasn't quite able to maintain striding. Ended up missing the dog walk down contact. Lovely blind cross by Shane on the
pretty
line.
34-21 with a fault. Still leaves Hot Shot in first place. 2 dogs left. This is Rob Bardenett next with Jimmy Neutron.
Next up is Jimmy Neutron. Jimmy Neutron is headed by Rob Barnett.
Ready.
And Jimmy Neutron getting a little head start on Rob, but Rob able to recover. An independent A-frame, but there you see the down contact faulted, and that was the other side of the question. If you separate from the A-frame, can your dog hold up under that pressure of you departing and still maintain their job of hitting the end of the ramp?
And you never know what effect Jimmy Neutron self-starting has, right? Throws that timing off a little bit. As a handler, that enters your mind. He's going to finish up nice and strong. 37-10 with one fault. All right, this is Jennifer Vocal next with Tonic. 33.88 time to beat.
This is our final competitor. This is Tonic.
This is our final dog here at the 2016 Sino Sport World Games. Our last 26-inch run.
Tonic with a nimble adjustment on that first jump to get up and over successfully and cleanly. Jennifer using a reverse spin on that entry to the 180 to tighten Tonic's line. Very nice. And the seesaw very aggressive.
Wow. Nice.
This is a beautiful run. Nice rear cross of the weave pole entry. Oh, dog walk down contact is faulted. That's a shame. This is going to be a nice, pretty run otherwise.
34.08. All right. This is all unofficial. I don't know if they're reviewing anything. I've got Laura Price with Hot Shot in first place. Rachel Sanders and Gifted in second. And now I got to do a little quick looking here. I've got, looks like Jennifer Vocal and Tonic in third.
And it looks like we do have a couple calls under review on Tonic's run. So we'll see if the dog walk fault that was called stands up or is taken away, and whether or not the seesaw, that was an aggressive seesaw that was called good. We'll see if that remains good. So that will affect the podium position. So we will have to wait and see that. And as soon as we get the results from the replay, we'll be sure to pass them along to you and maybe take a look.
Well, I think we're safe on first and second.
I believe so.
But I think third place is up in the air right now. Well, certainly an exciting competition, and today was no disappointment here with the Grand Prix.
And an exciting week of competition, and particularly coming into the finals of all the different types of performances we have here at the USDAA Sino Sport World Games. Starting off with the Performance Grand Prix on Friday night. Wonderful competition, leading through the steeplechase finals last night, the performance speed jumping finals last night, the team finals yesterday afternoon. A fun and wonderful course to watch. Lots of different types of dogs and teams that get to compete across different styles of play, different types of courses. We had the Masters Challenge, the biathlon competition that wrapped up earlier this morning. We had the Veteran Showcase as well, just before the Grand Prix. Got to celebrate and showcase some of our dogs who in the past have come to Sino Sport and are now aging up 9 or more years of age, and performed this weekend in the individual rounds of the team competition and were the top dogs in those performances. And we are still awaiting final review on video of what may or may not be the potentially, what are we looking at here? One of the third place performance, perhaps?
Yes.
In the 26-inch class. And this review process is relatively new. We've been incorporating it in last year's
Second
Sino
event.
Sport.
Yep.
It's also been something that's been in the International Federation of Sinological Sport,
Right.
the IFCS World Cup, for several years before
Right.
that, where we brought it over from and incorporated it into our events.
We started it back in 2012 when we were down in Fort Worth, and continually try to improve that process. Yep, like I said, we'll sit down and we'll do a plus delta. You know, what worked, what do we want to keep, where do we need to change, how can we improve?
One of the things that always works is the competitors who come with their dogs and what they put into it. And it is a pleasure and a privilege to get to watch everybody play. It's been something I've enjoyed over the years coming and competing at.
Right.
It's something that now I get the pleasure of watching from here, one of the best seats in the house.
I want to thank all the competitors who support USDAA agility throughout the year at local events, regionals, and
so
here at
we
Sino Sport.
We are just getting back word from the review, and Jennifer Vocal and Tonic were assessed a 5-point fault for the dog walk down.
Okay.
And that's the dog walk down. You can see that the dog comes off the side of the ramp. The tire being off to the side a little bit pulled Tonic's head, and you know the dogs are smart.
Right.
They're trying to read where they're going next, and as a result missed that dog walk down. Our judge, Janet Gaunt, was there to call that one. We also, I believe, had a seesaw fly-off that may have been added.
Right.
An extra 5 faults added for the seesaw performance from Tonic, giving them 10 faults, and that will knock them then off of the podium.
And that will put, I believe, Shane Miller and Luna in third place.
Our next finalist is Paige and Masako Yamamoto. Finishing sixth, Tonic and Jennifer Vocal.
Okay. We're going to let them get up on and do the awards. We'll have a victory lap, awards, and then we'll bid a final farewell. And we'll look forward to seeing everyone down in Murfreesboro, Tennessee next October.
Finishing fourth, Puma and Melanie
And
Rock.
congratulations to all of our
Yep.
Grand Prix champions
Yes.
this afternoon.
And to all our champions this weekend.
Right.
Finishing third,
Looking back over
Luna and
the 12-inch
Shane
class,
Miller.
Lori Bell and Diane O'Reilly. In the 14-inch class, Dreamer and Abigail Beasley. In the 16s, Dash and Ashley Deacon. In the 18s, Kirk and Shannon Fosty. In the 22-inch class, Swagger and Susan Garrett.
Finishing third, Luna
And
and Shane Miller.
coming up on the podium for our 26-inch class, Shane Miller in third. Rachel Sanders in second, and Laura Price and Hot Shot.
Puma and
Our
Melanie
champions
Rock.
at 26 inches.
Finish second is Gifted and Rachel Sanders.
Well, Greg, as we're waiting for the victory lap and the podium shots, I just want to say thank you very much for joining me here on this year's live stream broadcast. It's a pleasure to work with you.
The pleasure's all mine. I really appreciate it. I can't express how much fun it is to see everything and to be able to try and explain what we see from here and bring the sport out to everybody.
Yeah.
it is such a pleasure and a privilege to watch everybody get to play and the level to which they have brought the game and continue to bring the game. And you talk about how after every competition and event you all host that you go back and review and advance what you all do. And every year we see the handlers and their dogs come back with more and more skill, more and more ability to handle more and more increasingly challenging courses with even greater ease. So it really is a pleasure. Thank you.
Rachel Sanders. And finishing first, Hot Shot and Laura Price.
Chuck Color doing a great job of queuing up the music, and very appropriate.
We're taking it down.
Wow, what a beautiful scene here. Those mountains in the background, Greg, it's hard to imagine a more beautiful location, a more beautiful backdrop to a great event than right here.
And certainly we've gotten the feedback over the years about wanting to come back here, and we've finally been able to after a bit of a hiatus, about 7 years.
Right.
We're back, and hopefully looking to the future, maybe we'll be back again on those west of the Mississippi years.
Hey, you just never know. Stay tuned. All right. Well, this will conclude our coverage of the 2016 Sinosport World Games. And I want to thank everyone who's tuned in for the live stream broadcast. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you'll join us next year down in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. For Greg Fontaine, this is Andy Hartman saying, have a wonderful evening. Thanks again.
Thank you all.
Take care.
Thank you, Andy.
All right, Greg. Great job.